So there's just a couple of things that we want to discuss. Ali Shear mentioned Francesca Albanese's report for the UN, you know, it, detailing the economic ties to Israel's genocide in Gaza, naming, I believe it was more than 40 companies that are profiting and have deep ties with Israel's killing machine. What can we say about the report and the West's response to it, which has been, of course, very predictable?
Yeah, well, why don't we start then with this very brief clip of Francesca Albanese introducing the report at the UN Human Rights Council earlier this week, and then I'll say a bit more.
Of this system that entangles many, many more. What I exposed is not a list, it is a system, and it is to be addressed. Now, my expectation is that the 𝐄𝐥𝐶HR database, the Working Group on Business and Human Rights, and lawyers, investigative journalists, and prosecutors globally will take this framework and secure that what states have failed to achieve, accountability. And we must reverse the tide. As I conclude, let me say, member states must impose a full arms embargo on Israel, suspend all trade agreements and investment relations, and enforce accountability, ensuring that corporate entities face legal consequences for their involvement in serious violations of international.
Yeah, as you said, Nora, her report names 40 companies, but what she stresses is that it's not about those individual companies. Of course, she does want them held accountable, but it's about a whole economic and financial system that sustains occupation, apartheid, and genocide. But among the familiar names of companies that are included in the report are Microsoft, Alphabet, the parent company of Google, and others, some of which we've discussed on this live stream. She also names Caterpillar and Hyundai, which both supply heavy engineering equipment to Israel, which is used in the operations that John showed us in
Right.
Gaza, those Caterpillar D9 bulldozers, but also Hyundai equipment is used in home demolitions across the West Bank. She mentions logistics giant Maersk, the shipping company that we currently have a story on the Electronic Intifada about how it's involved in specifically in helping ship parts for the F-35 fighter bombers that Israel is using in this genocide. And travel sites that are familiar to any of us, like Booking.com and Airbnb, as well as energy companies, including BP and Chevron. And so uh, it's a call for accountability. Her report is very meticulous. Perhaps we'll have a chance in a future show to talk in more detail about it. But the reaction from the United States was very swift. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, posted this yesterday on Twitter. He posted, "Today I'm imposing sanctions on UN Human Rights Council Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese for her illegitimate and shameful efforts to prompt the International Criminal Court to take action against US and Israeli officials, companies, and executives." And he says that Albanese's campaign of political and economic warfare against the United States and Israel will no longer be tolerated. We will always stand by our partners in their right to self-defense. And so, it's a topsy-turvy world where the United States and Israel, who are committing genocide, are the victims of warfare by Francesca Albanese. But I also think that the fact that they're resorting to sanctions, which will have no effect on her
Nothing. No.
personally, I mean, it blocks whatever assets she has in the United States. She probably, I don't know, but I'm assuming she doesn't have very much exposure. Um, the It's a sign of desperation. It's a sign that the U.S. and Israel are totally isolated. They're still very powerful. Don't get me wrong, but they don't really have any tools to. They've lost control of the narrative completely, and so this just an empty gesture from Rubio.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and it's, I was looking through the report last week, and it really is a great, very detailed, meticulous, as you said, resource for activists who are involved in the boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaign, because it lays out in very plain, accessible detail how these companies are profiting, who they are politically and financially tied to, and which kind of war crimes specifically they are committing throughout the genocide, and in terms of the continued settler, you know, colonial project in the occupied West Bank. And it's extremely useful. So if people haven't read it yet, it's Francesca Albanese's UN report. It's called From Economy of Occupation to Economy of Genocide, and you can find it online. But yeah, hopefully we'll get Francesca back on the live stream so that she can talk about it in detail.